Welcome to episode 203 of Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host, Tommy Nanny, bringing you a fun and exciting show here tonight as we discuss the good and the bad. And you can probably figure out which is the good and which is the bad. Go around the room, as always, co-host Jason Sayada.
What's up, Tom?
Jason, what's going on? And Jimmy the Chalk.
Bad is generous. I mean, we're talking really, really ugly for some of this.
Yeah, and we'll get it. We won't play our cards too early here, but we will get into it. As we're going to do Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, and maybe touch a little bit on the Eagles overall, the first round, obviously, as the second round's going on. As we record this, the Sixers are currently playing. The Phillies are currently playing. And if you turned on your traditional cable, you will not find them, as you have to watch both games on streaming devices. So have multiple devices ready to roll. All right, tonight's episode is brought to you by Giovannina's Pizza. Try the rest. Now go ahead and try the best. All right, let's go to the good. The Flyers up 3-0 in Pittsburgh. I mean, I'm not saying we're surprised, because if you listen to last week's show, we kind of all said the Flyers. I mean, I don't think we were saying they were going to be up 3-0 and sweep or 5 games. But we relatively picked the Flyers, and if we didn't, it wasn't like they couldn't win the series. You know, going forward, we'll see, but not too far off. So I can't say we're really surprised, but they've been impressive. I mean, they've weathered the storm in some of the games, but they're coming out they're hitting a lot. I mean, it's kind of giving you. They're playing as closest to the old school hockey as you could play in today's day and age. The neutral zone, they kind of have controlled. The way Tocchet style has developed is really starting to work. And you're getting some great play from pretty much all their defensemen, which that I'm a little surprised at. And we'll get into it. But Jason, Flyers are up 3-0. Hopefully they can wrap it up tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Tomorrow at 8 they play for Game 4. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, I mean, to me, it's kind of like what I think I mentioned this, and again, I didn't have a lot of information on the Penguins to really have that much of an opinion on the series. But like, if you just look at it, the Flyers are a defensive team, the Penguins are an offensive team, and in the playoffs, defense, especially NHL, defense wins over offense. So I think it's a combination of that, and also that the Penguins are aging, you know.
Yeah, I will say, like, you watch Malkin, he could still be in the league, right? He's still, I mean, he has his faults. Crosby is not playing well at all. But to me, Letang is like
Yeah, he's done.
unbelievable liability.
He's
awful.
done. Carlson's
So if
bad
you go through there,
defensively. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah. So you know, I think that's part of it. So like, and yes, the Flyers are playing really well and all, and it's, you know, it's kind of exciting, but like, is a lot of it, or is most of it, that the Penguins just aren't a good team, and the Flyers are gelling right now, but they're just beating a bad team. I guess we'll see in the next series. Just to mention some players, like, I really think Martone's going to be a star. I mean, I see so much offensive instinct in his game, like, where he's just like, he knows how to get space. He knows how to.
he's always in the right spot.
He's always in a
when
good
the puck
spot.
takes a bounce, he's always right
He's
there.
there, and he knows how to get shots off. You know, so you create space for yourself to get a shot off. Good passer. He's just a really good offensive player, and he's 19. I mean, it's crazy. He was just playing college hockey, so I think I think they have a star in that kid. I'm the first to admit, like, I always, and I'm not changing my opinion on Sanheim. I think on a contending team, he is your second pairing, your number 3 defenseman, basically. He's your second pairing defenseman. He's playing really well. He's playing really well. I still don't think he's a number 1 defenseman on a team that's going to win a cup, but I mean, I can't deny how well he's playing. Vladar looks really good. I think he's banged up. They said he's questionable.
He's playing now. It sounds like there's really
He's gonna
not much
play.
there.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
solid. Like, you know, he's positioning wise, he's there, and he's a big guy. So, you know, He's just playing really well.
And he's making the saves. He's making the saves when sure, he let up. I mean, the one goal with the arm was kind of, and there was a goal I think early in the season was a little so, but then he made up for it by making the saves like in the moments where it's a 1-goal game and like those crucial times, and it gives them when Pittsburgh's really buzzing too, he just kind of shut the door on them, and it allows the Flyers to, kind of withstand it and then make their own offense. So
Yeah.
it's been huge.
Yeah. So, listen, I mean, are they going to sweep them? It's very possible that they're going to win tomorrow night. As we're taping this on Friday, they're going to win tomorrow night and be off. Maybe that's not the best thing because I don't know how to.
Well, Carolina is on the verge of sweeping as well.
But will they start the series or will they make them wait until everybody's basically done?
Oh, I think, but I'm saying both teams might be just sitting.
That's
on
true.
their
Yeah,
hands.
Carolina will have the rust factor too. So, we'll see. I mean, obviously you don't want to play around. You want to end the series, so you can't let those thoughts come into play. You just got to win the game and be done. But I'm watching them. I like watching them. I enjoy it. I still think that they're short up the middle, and I think eventually their defense is going to kind of show why I think they're going to be short there too. But they're better than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree that still don't know if it's more the Flyers playing well, and they are, or Pittsburgh does, because Pittsburgh does look like they lack a little bit of juice right now. They're like getting unhinged after the whistle, like they're not, and maybe that's the talent level, whatever. So I don't know, or maybe the Flyers are forcing them to look bad, which is very possible. One thing though is, I mean, their power play definitely looks improved, and we talked about it. You have Forrester Martone back now, and you didn't have him for. I mean, Forrester was out a couple months, multiple months, and Martone just got there, so that's a big factor. Special teams, the penalty kill has been pretty good, although they let up 2 goals last game. But, their defensemen, to me, like you mentioned, Sam, but Ristolainen is playing
He's
also
playing really good. Yeah, he is.
Cam York has been playing. He's blocking shot. I mean, he's playing much better than I ever anticipated. And Drysdale is playing well, too. I mean, their defensemen are legitimately playing well. One thing, and then, Chalky, you can go, Michkov is going to see diminished ice time as these playoffs go on.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't watch enough of the Flyers all year, like, to really tune in. I watched some, but, I mean, Michkov is slow. He does not skate well at all.
That's my point.
And he takes dumb penalties. He holds the puck at the wrong. I do think you're going to start to see maybe some diminished ice time by Michkov because Target did it earlier, and I think he's going to do it again.
See that was my point when I was asking Ben last week about Michkov was like, for his size, shouldn't he be faster to be, to kind of be successful? I mean,
It does look that way, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's got the hands.
And then on top of it, you're taking bad penalties. Like, you're not going to see the ice.
Yeah.
Chalky?
Yeah, you guys covered most of it. I mean, I'll say I think the 3-0 is more a reflection of the Penguins just not being all that good than the Flyers being a really good team. But the Flyers are obviously playing better, and I think the defensive style of the Flyers are trying to play with Tocchet. I mean, the fact that a lot of these Penguins guys are older or slower, it makes it a lot easier to do what they want to do on defense. And really, I mean, the first 2 we said out, Flyers didn't have a shutout all year, and Vladar got his shutout in game 2. And game 1, really, he gave up 2 goals, but the second one was kind of fluky in that it was deflected right on the stick of whoever it was on Pittsburgh that ended up scoring, and Vladar had no chance didn't even see it. Like, it was a ricochet that just dropped right in front of him. So couldn't really fault him on that. So, he's played well. Neither team had power play goal scored until game 3. But the Flyers did have the shorthanded goal in game 2, which was, I believe, the first goal of the game in that case. And that really, that put Pittsburgh on their heels, it seemed like, for the rest of the game at that point, because they followed it up quickly again with Martone had his goal, I think, at that point. And he's the first rookie or first like 19-year-old to have goals in his first 2 playoff games since I don't even know when. It was I was in the car, so I heard Saunders giving it out on the radio. Some guy I never heard of. So, you know, that's somewhat historic. I mean, look, the building had a lot of juice. The fans are into it. It's playoff hockey is a different breed of sport than regular season hockey or any other sport. So it's great to see the kind of energy. You know, I don't feel any better about how this team is going to look in the years to come than when we talked last week. But, you know, this is you can see like they have some younger players that are playing well right now, whereas Pittsburgh is mostly these older guys. And like you said, Letang is just terrible. I mean, I don't know if it's just he's been there for so long and you know, they're keeping him because he's kind of his legacy there, but he's almost unplayable.
See, he was never good defensively, but he was good offensively.
Yeah, he always used to kill the Flyers with goals and assists, and now he's not giving you either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a complete liability, but you know, I mean, but he's been in the league for 20 years now, or close
Pretty
to
close
it. I mean,
to it. Pretty close to it.
Like, I mean, think about it. Like, you know, him, Malkin, and Crosby have been playing together. Malkin and Crosby have been playing together for 20 years, right? And Letang almost as long. Like, how often do you ever see that where you got 3 guys playing for that long? And I mean, Malkin, you know, he's still, especially in the power play. Crosby
He's still a guy that could be in the league.
Yeah.
Like
and Crosby can too, but when you compare him to
Yeah.
what Crosby was, which was the greatest player on the planet for years, I mean, that's a step down. And Letang is just, he's really not playable.
I think
so,
they're
like, these are
at
2 teams.
Crosby. I think they're getting under his skin. Like they're
Oh, no, absolutely. And I mean, like, this was he got called for diving. It was the first
Yeah.
diving call he ever got, or embellishment or whatever. And they caught him laughing in the box because the fans were yelling at him. And he was basically like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's
I
all lip
embellished it,
service
but-
too between him and the coach. But like, I mean, they're watching it different. Like, if anything, the refs have given Pittsburgh more of an advantage than they've given the Flyers.
Yeah.
Like, it's nonsense to even talk about it.
One thing I'll add is, and I'm never like this because, you know, growing up, plus Gene Hart, Harry Callis, they're homers, right? I find it so much more refreshing to watch the ESPN broadcast than Jim Jackson and Boucher, because the Flyers never commit a penalty with Jim Jackson and Boucher, and then every play, you know, everything the Penguins does is a penalty. Whereas when you watch,
I mean, Hartnell is in the background screaming when Ziegler scored. You can hear him say yes or something in the background.
It's so much more refreshing to just watch the national broadcast where they're, you know, they're not homers, obviously.
Yeah, I think Boucher's a little bit better because he does do national.
right.
I mean, he did the game, but
Jackson's
Hartnell's
a homer.
and Hartnell is bad.
I can't do that anymore.
No, and I'm not saying the Flyers aren't committing. I'm just saying for Pittsburgh to come out after the game and act like they shouldn't have got penalties. And like Jimmy said with the embellishment, like Crosby's been doing that for 20 years. They just never called it. For him to come out and say, "Oh, he's never got one in his career." Well, that's because he got favoritism his whole career. Like, he's been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's on that. But I mean, even the other problem is like the Rust, the Mantha, they're playing awful too for Pittsburgh. That Mantha took was it game 1 or game 2? Like 3 bad penalties. Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, and Skinner's not good.
No, he let in some bad goals.
Yeah, he's just that Restalainen goal needs to get saved. He's just not that good.
Yeah. I mean, game 1, both the Sanheim and the Martone goal were like beautiful shots. But the last 2 games, Skinner has definitely not been. And he
made good saves. He saved the penalty shot.
Yeah,
overall,
but who was it? Somebody, the first goal that got waved off the board Saturday night, whoever it was fell on him, and he was like a little ginger coming up. So I don't know if he's got something going on that's playing more against him throughout the series. But yeah, I mean, this is top to bottom. This Flyers team is just more talented at this point from all 4 lines and the defensive pairings and goals.
I will say though, I mean, even so, the Flyers, like Pittsburgh still kind of dominates the puck, right? The Flyers are not a puck possession team. Like they boggle up the neutral zone, they get pucks in, like all that. And so Pittsburgh is holding the puck. Carolina, who it looks like they're going to face if things fall, is a puck possession team. I mean, you take that with the way the Flyers. I don't want to be negative, and I'm.
No.
It could get ugly. I'm thinking it could get ugly.
I mean, you're talking two
I
different
fully
levels.
expect it to get ugly if they make it to the next round. Yeah,
So,
but
you're
they,
talking
you know,
two different-
Carolina, it's going to be very ugly.
Yeah.
But not to take anything away. Look, I'm enjoying. I haven't
Uh,
been this excited for Flyers hockey in
Yeah.
10 years, maybe more. So I'm enjoying the games, but we shall see. All right. Anything else?
Not for me.
All right, Chalky, we'll give you first crack as a former. I don't think currently.
Former is
Season-
correct.
Season ticket holder. Although I do think you lost the tickets at one point and you've reneged on giving them up. If I remember, Jason, I don't recall.
Oh,
We
Well,
had
the,
some sort of-
the
Hey,
Sixers
you
never
kind
traded
of
for
bet.
Kevin Durant, so there was not.
It's
not.
okay. It was.
yeah.
I thought there was something else that where your tickets were in danger, but nonetheless, you are a former season ticket holder of the Sixers. So I'll give you first crack at the Sixers as they're playing right now.
And they're about to finish the first quarter
Down
5. I mean, it was, a tale of two games. They're not a good 3-point shooting team to start with. They're towards the bottom of the league. They were horrendous in game 1, and they were really, really good in game 2. And not to say that that's what made a difference, but it was night and day as far as how those games went. And I mean, game 1 was over in the first quarter, essentially. I think, Boston got up by like 15 in the first quarter at some point or close to it, and they just cruised from that point on. And they got the Sixers down the other night, and the Sixers made a run towards the end of the quarter to get back in, and then they led pretty much the rest of the game, I think. And look, I thought they would win one game. I thought that would be a game after Embiid got back, if he ended up playing, which maybe will be game 4 at this point. But, you had great games from Edgecombe and Maxey, right? And Edgecombe, he played pretty poorly offensively, at the very least in game 1. He redeemed himself in game 2. And I want to say, this is, some of these guys, like you see more heart at times in this lineup than you have in previous years. Like, think about some of the guys like Simmons, obviously, he's a guy that ended up like having very little heart. Embiid comes and goes. And look, George had a good game in game 2 too, so give him a little bit of credit. So it's good to not see them just lay down and get bombed out again. They're down 5 now. We'll see. Boston shot very well in the first game and did not shoot well at all from 3-pointers in game. So those are going to even out. And when they even out, it's still going to be in Boston's favor. If Embiid plays game 4, it'll give him a little bit of boost. But after surgery, a couple of weeks, what kind of shape is he going to be in? But they've gotten dominated on the boards in both of the first 2 games. I don't have the live stats in front of me right now, but they're giving up offensive rebounds, and that's going to kill you when you got to get back at the other side of the court without Embiid on the floor. So him coming back might help with that a little bit, but you can't give Boston a lot of second chances, especially a team like Boston. And, I think it's still a 5-game series. Maybe they get to 6 if Embiid comes back and they steal one. But I'll say the performance the other night was, I thought they might cover, but I didn't expect them to win. So the fact that they were able to win by double digits, give them credit for that. They had some heart, but I think the overall series outlook isn't going to be any different than what we talked about last week at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it said game 2 again, maybe not the win, and they deserve the win. They played well, they shot well. Edgecombe, even like other guys, kind of role players, had played well in the game. But I think game 1, the Sixers were like the most bet spread and money line team bet in the first games, like game 1s of anything. They lose they don't cover. I mean, no shocker. The line goes up, and then now everybody's on the Celtics. It was like set up for the Celtics to let down, the Sixers to come back. But to their credit, they won the game, not just covered the spread. And they went out and won it. I mean, yeah, Boston didn't shoot well, but their defense was better. They contested more shots. They were making their shots. I don't see them winning another game. I was actually shocked they won a game. So the fact to even with Embiid coming back, don't really see it happening. But hey, I mean, nobody expected. At least they gave us one game, and again, it's not over. But at least they gave us one game that they came out and, like you said, they that first game they looked unprepared. They looked like they didn't want to be there. They didn't look like they should have been there. And game 2 was the opposite. So I give them credit for that. Whether Embiid coming back gives them spark or hurts them, I don't know. But he's not probably going to be in great shape. I don't see you going to really improve that much defensively with the way he's been playing this year. But they went out and won game 2. And now they at least made it a series. Whether they lose in 5, they lose in 5. But at least they went out and made it a series. Jason, anything?
Yeah, I think I think it's obvious, like what Chalky said, the Sixers were dreadful shooting in game 1. They were good in game 2, and Boston was good in game 1 and bad shooting in game 2. I also think Nurse made a couple of adjustments in game 2 defensively, which could make a difference. I'm not ready to say that they can't win another game in the series. I don't think they're going to win the series, but I don't know if they can't steal another game. I also think, obviously VJ, I'll get to him in a second. Maxey was great. I thought Edwards played well, and I thought Oubre played well in game 2. Like you said, Tom, a couple of role players also, played well. So, but VJ, the kid just looks like a star. I mean, he's going to be so good. Like, you could tell, like, as the season went on, like, he just became better offensively, became a better shooter. He's real young, too. I mean, Chalky, is he 20? How old is he? 19?
I thought he was not.
Is he 19?
I thought he might have been. I could be wrong. He might be 20. I thought he was not.
20.
He's 20.
He is 20?
That's still young. I mean, regardless. I mean, I think he's just going to get better. I mean, they hit, we killed them on drafts and everything. They hit on that one. For sure, they hit on that one. I mean, that kid is going to be a star. So,
I mean, one thing that Morey's done well is actually his draft picks have not been bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's done good things. And listen, I'll say the same thing I tell people all the time about George. It was a bad situation for them. They had money to spend. There was nobody out there to sign. I think you may lose a slot if you don't spend that money. I don't know the exact rule in the NBA. So they had to spend money, and they had to sign George. Like, that was...
Yeah, my only question, and I know basketball, could they have used that money, like, use that slot for multiple guys and not... Or no, you had to, like, give one
I don't know the
contract
exact rule, but I know they had to spend money, and they went
out.
after...
Of course, other teams now have shown that you can kind of move money, like get guys that don't necessarily have to be your top tier superstars and put a team together.
Sure.
That would be my one.
And then you have the whole Embiid situation where, like, his window, if it's not already shut, is very close to being shut. So you went out and got yourself what they thought was a guy that was, still a viable player. Now, when he plays, he's not bad, but he don't play that much. So, people kill Morey, and it's possible he loses his job. It's possible Nurse loses his job. I don't agree with either, to be honest with you. I just think it's the situation. So, but listen, again, I'm not ready to say that they're not going to win any more games in the series. I still don't think they win the series, but they might make it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we don't spend time, and we'll move on. Brown is the worst offensive player I've ever seen.
2 left feet for hands.
Right, he's the worst offensive player
I've ever seen. Like,
I mean, I'm not. If
I saw his hands and I saw that he had 2 left feet as hands, I would believe it.
It's just like it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
But all right. Anything else before we move on? So I guess the Flyers were the Sixers. I would say they were good, right? We can put them in the good
At this
category.
point, I mean,
So now let's move to the bad. And I don't think there's a mystery of who the bad is. I don't know if there's going to be one positive thing said tonight. It would be hard to find, right? The Phillies. So as we speak, they're actually playing now. I saw Trey Turner just hit a home run. They're up 2-0 somehow. Don't blow it, but they're up 2-0. They are tied for. Keep in mind, there's been a team in their division that had a 12-game losing streak. Now they're not that far off, but had a 12-game losing streak. But the Phillies are tied for the worst record in baseball right now with the Kansas City Royals.
mm,
And remember, a team went on a 12-game losing streak, and they're still worse than that team. It's the Phillies. And I'm going to let you, Jason, decide where you want to take this, because we can go pitching, we can go hitting, we can go defense, we can go base running, we can go Dombrowski and roster construction. Whatever. You could go anywhere you want. That's bad.
yeah.
I'll let you decide where you want to go. And then from there, Chalky, if you just want to fire off curse words, feel free. You do what you want. But go ahead.
So I'll start by saying I honestly think they're playing for Thompson's job this weekend, because Monday's an off day. If they
100%.
if they get swept, he's gone on Monday.
I do think it's like there's a gray area, because obviously if they get swept, he's gone. If they win 1 or 2,
That's gray
it could
area.
depend on
If they win the series, he's fine.
he's safe, yeah.
If they win one game and
But it's ugly or something.
and it's ugly in the other 2 games, he might be gone. If it's competitive in those games, maybe he's not.
even yesterday was competitive. Like
If
they
it's
put up a
competitive,
fight.
yeah, they showed a little heart. Yeah. Now I'm gonna, like you mentioned, Tom. I could easily start with the pitching, but I'm gonna start with the hitting, and I'm gonna go over guys. And Turner's lucky he hit a home run tonight, because that'll take some of my venom away from him. Because he, to me, is a massive mistake. I'm sorry, he's just a mistake. That signing was a mistake. I'm gonna go over averages. It's not only him, but he's getting away with stuff this year that, everybody's blaming Bowman Stott, which, of course, they're awful. But this guy is hitting 225 before the home run tonight with a 281 on base percentage. I mean, is that acceptable from Trey Turner?
Who's also your leadoff hitter. So your leadoff hitter has
He's getting the most at bats on the team. He's got
has
that
a
long
sub-300.
swing. He's constantly down 0-2. That should be his middle name. Like, is he ever not down 0-2 in the count?
No, he
Ever.
either looks at a fastball down the middle or swings at a
That
breaking ball
wild
5 feet off the plate,
one hand swing that
and he's down 0-2.
Schwarber's hitting 198, but Schwarber's on base percentage is 342.
Yeah, I was gonna
So-
say his slugging percentage is
And he's
pretty
got
high.
8 home runs. So,
yeah.
yeah, you won his average higher, but it's not that far off from what Schwarber is. Harper, 261, but he's got a 352 on base percentage. He's been coming around.
And I think his OPS was above 800.
Yeah.
I think last time. I mean,
Garcia, not acceptable, 221. His on base is 306. It's not awful. Bone, 151 with a 227 on base. I mean, come on. Marsh. Now, Marsh is...
and that's after 2 games getting hit in the last 2 games.
Yeah, it was
too.
worse. Now, Marsh is hitting
And
300.
everybody you've mentioned other than Turner's numbers have gone down so far this evening. So I'm looking at them in real time, but yeah.
Marsh is hitting 300, but his on base percentage is only 329. So his numbers are a little, and he can't hit lefties. I don't even, nobody even please on this podcast bring up that he should be playing
it's
on.
like last night was yesterday. I mean, was a perfect example. He was 3 for 3, 2 home runs, a single. He gets in a key spot with a man on third, 2
With a
outs,
lefty.
man on third, left-hander. He wildly swings at the first 2 pitches and then looks at a fastball dead down
Right
the
down
middle.
the middle. Yeah. No,
Or
he can't hit
dead down the
lefties.
middle.
He's fine as a platoon player if you have somebody that could bat right-handed to platoon with him. Stott is an abomination. 209 with a 264 on base percentage. Not cutting it. Marchand. .086 with a 111 on base percentage. I mean, that's like a pitcher. Remember when pitchers used to hit? They were better than that. Like, they had better numbers than that. Like, that's just not acceptable. And then Crawford's 261 with 346 on base percentage, but like, I don't know about him. His defense is just bad.
Your evaluation of Crawford was he's not going to get
Nothing
away with
special.
playing. Like, he's another guy. He's not a prospect, a top
Yeah.
He's a guy, and you can use him on a team because he's speed. He could like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's not a top prospect.
Yeah. Now, before
Do
we
you
get
want to
into-
talk about maybe Dylan Moore? His offer
Oh,
hasn't
I mean,
got a hit.
But the
this
guy, here's
season.
the thing, though. The guy never plays. So, like,
Yeah, I know, but
you know, when
that's
we
your
go-
bet.
Like, when we go play ball and we haven't done something in a long time, it takes you time to.
But that's your bench.
I know. Now, one thing, I'm not going to go through the whole pitches there, but one thing, I listened to Jason Stark the other day, and he had interesting stats. The Phillies pitching staff has a 355 average of balls in play. They've allowed the softest average contact. Now, this was 2 games ago, so didn't include yesterday. Or there were a couple of hard hit balls yesterday, but not a ton. They have averaged the softest average contact in baseball. Their expected ERA should be second in baseball because of the contact that they've allowed. Instead, they have a mid-5 ERA. That points to 2 things. Number one, the positioning is probably not good. Like Ruben Amaro has been saying it on the broadcast. That's a managing issue. Whoever's setting up the positioning. And number 2, the defense. The guys are not good. They're not good defensive players. Like we brought this up last week. Harper last in first base.
Yeah, I think aren't they last as run saved this year in the league so far defensively? Like run saved.
And
I think they're
Crawford
last.
is bad in center field. Turner we know is bad, right? So right there, I mean, I don't know. I mean, here's the bottom line. We know Dombrowski is the problem. He's the problem. He put this team together. You guys I challenge you guys to give me more than 3 moves that he's made over the last 5 years that are good. Go ahead if you want to try.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking last night. The one thing I'll say about Dombrowski, and he's terrible, and I'm not defending him, and he should be fired, is 2 things. One, their team is a result of just a terrible farm system for 15 years. They're the only team in baseball that's constructed of majority of free agents. I mean, what do they have? Bowman Stott is their homegrown talent, and Nola and Sanchez now. Marchand don't count. So
they traded for Sanchez.
Sanchez was a trade, but he was a minor leaguer.
Oh,
at the
what?
time.
But they got him in the minors. Like, okay. You're right. But I kind of count that. But no, you're right, technically. I mean, it only helps my argument, so I'm for it. But, like, their major Turner, Schwarber, Harper, JT, all free agents. So now, with the free agents, free agents has already proved that they're good players and to get a huge contract, right? So a lot of time free agents, you got to pay a lot. And a lot of times they don't perform as well as they did when they're looking for a contract. Yeah, like all those things. And they do. I mean, Schwarber has. So but I'm saying, so that result there is you're the 5th highest payroll in baseball with not a single player that you developed. And if you go through the league, and I could cherry pick like the Bobby Witts, but every team has these young guys that are coming up who are difference makers. The Cubs have a bunch. The Dodgers, well, Dodgers are the Dodgers, but the Mets even have some. The Atlanta's always got them. Like I could just go through and I'm not going to, I could go through that. That's one. But again, that's Dombrowski still needs to do better. It don't matter. Then you signed Turner, which looks like you could have not signed him and had more money to do something else with. You chose Turner and he doesn't look like the guy. Every fringe player you signed, Whit Merrifield, who's the other guy? The lefty that stunk. He
You
hurt his
go
groin.
on and on and on with the
Like
bid
every
me.
fringe guy has been not like not made a difference. Has been terrible.
Let me bring up a guy,
Terrible.
Brad Keller. He stinks. Brad Keller stinks.
Yeah, all the bullpen
I mean,
that they.
right there, like he stinks.
Now here's my second defense of Dombrowski that and we've talked about this because I'm going to call fraud on somebody else, and he's starting to piss me off too. Every team Dombrowski has been a GM for, what did we say he does? He takes his young talent, he trades them, he gets these big splash players at the deadline, right? We talked about it at every deadline. He never made a move. Except when he came to the Phillies. He hasn't traded really prospects besides the O'Hoppies, the guys you went through yesterday, Tates, who have had potential, but not like you didn't trade the Painters, you didn't trade like your top tier guys, and you didn't get back like a Soto or like a guy like that. Something tells me that that's not all Dombrowski. Maybe that's fake Middleton with his I want to bring the trophy back to Philadelphia and putting handcuffs a little bit on Dombrowski on what he can and can't do with getting rid of prospects, making sure they stay under the luxury tax, like things like that. So as much as Middleton wants to act like he wants to win a championship, he's still running his business to be successful and make a lot of money for years to come and not necessarily want to win a championship. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Dombrowski just hasn't pulled the trigger because he sucks now. Possible. But that's just a tangent of, on the Dombrowski, just to take devil's advocate on him. But he's terrible. I think he should be fired. And we could keep going on other issues. But Chalky, I'll give you a chance to kind of throw something out there and go at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend Dombrowski, but I'll say we look at, their top prospects. You mentioned that the minor leagues being depleted, not having guys come up. So if they wanted to go after a Soto, like, was there enough guys to have a team want to make that deal? Probably not.
Oh, maybe not Soto, but every big name that you come across, it was like Painter had to be involved, right? Painter had to be involved.
Yeah,
and
they said like, Painter can't go. He's hands off. I mean, I've been fine willing to trade Painter ever since he had the Tommy John. I mean, that's big.
So I'm just saying maybe some of that is Middleton putting handcuffs on him.
Yeah,
that's all.
They've tried to make some big moves and came up short in free agency with Yamamoto, and then this year with Bichette. Turner was obviously the one big one. He has not played to that contract. I would say, coming off that World Series year, and the Braves just tied the game. There were, I think we talked about it. It's on record. We all, there were some middle infielders, and Turner was our first choice, and they got him, and he's been the best of that group, but he's not worth the money that they gave. So where could that money have gone since then? That's where you could maybe criticize if there was other dollars that could have been spent. I think, I don't say they're giving up on Thompson, but the team just doesn't, like, it's the same stuff over and over, and they're worse this year. Could be a combination of getting old, could be a combination of giving up on the coach, but they just, I didn't even want to talk this much about them because I don't feel like they deserve my energy, because I don't feel like they're putting it out there on the field for the most part. And there's been mistakes made at every single level on the field, roster construction, drafting. And look, I think since Dombrowski came on, they've drafted, was Painter drafted under Dombrowski? I think he was.
I believe so.
Anyway, so like some of these guys that there are the top prospects are guys that he's drafted, and they're better than what Klentek had in the reservoir. You mentioned Real Muto was technically a trade. They sent Sanchez and the catcher down to Miami, and that worked out. So they haven't given up anybody that's been really good so far. But even if you take a guy like O'Hoppe, who right now offensively is no better than Real Muto's been the last couple years, and is much worse defensively, but Real Muto might be at the end. So that's a young guy
No,
that would
but
be
if you had
relatively cheap and cost
Ohapi,
controlled that you can use. And, I would take 15 home runs from the catcher's position at this point because you're not getting that.
and if you had Ohapi, you might not re-sign JT for $30 million.
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's cost control. It's not on the field right now, but in the wallet moving forward. And then when Real Muto does retire in a year or two, or whatever, that's where you're going to miss a guy like him, even if he never becomes a star. So it's just rough. I mean, they are the worst run differential in the league by 16 runs right now. So, I mean, they came back yesterday and they lost by 1, but by like the 6th or 7th inning in some of these games, like it's not even competitive. Friday night against Atlanta was 9-0. They got up 1, they lose 3-1, no situational hitting. Was it Saturday night? And it's 1-2 run. I mean, up until yesterday, the Flyers had more goals in 3 games than the Phillies had runs in like the last week and a half. So like they're not doing anything right now.
And we've said, like, how much does a manager do in the course of a year? How many wins does he account for? How many like, et cetera, et cetera. But like, the things that they're doing poorly are fundamental baseball, things managers.
That's on his it's on his staff to be like.
And also, for instance, Dylan Moore yesterday. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was the right move, but why does he try to suicide squeeze or safety squeeze on the set after he's down 0-1?
It should have been on the
you
first
do that
pitch.
on the first
I
pitch?
agree with that. It should have been on the first pitch and not the second pitch.
So is that like he forgot and then Thompson's like, oh shit, let me try suicide squeeze? Like that's something is not right there, right?
No.
Like now you're down 0-2, you can't do it, and you force the guy to have to try to hit with 2 strikes. Like
we talked about it last week. Harper runs from third with no outs, completely unnecessary. Marsh is running past the base with the ball in the air. Like these are little league. I watched my nephew's t-ball game the other day, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're not making those mistakes. And so it's like, it's just bad fundamental baseball. And yeah, maybe you can't give somebody talent, but when you're making wrong decisions or you're not coaching them correctly, like that falls on the staff. And I mean, I'll just end with, I've never put a ton of stock in the opening month to say if you don't look great, it's going to be a bad omen. But as I said before, you just don't want to be too much underwater. Well, they're 8-17 right now. If they win every other game in April, the best they'll be is 14-17, which is not good. That's if they have a 6-game winning streak, which I don't think any of us thinks they're going to do. So there's time left. It's early in the season, but you could be. I mean, if they were less than 7 games under 500 by the end of this month, I would be surprised the way they're playing right now.
I think they need to be, by Memorial Day, they need to be 500.
Yeah, by June you got to be there.
By June they have to be 500.
Yeah,
they have to be 500 to have a chance. Now, listen, I mentioned I think Thompson might get fired. I don't think I think partially it's his fault, of course, but like I think you have to fire him. It's just that's the way it has to be because of where they're going to be if they get swept in this series or something. Like you need to make some kind of change, and you can't change 20 of the players, so it would have to be him. What I want to see probably won't happen, but if I'm them, if I'm Thompson, and it won't be Wheeler, and it won't be this kid tonight, Painter, I don't know who would do it. I would say, guess what? Guys are digging in at the plate against us. Let's start brushing guys back. And if a couple of guys get hit and they get mad and they want to start a fight or something, maybe this team needs that. Maybe they need a brawl, like for them to all come together or something. Like, well, first of all, the guys are digging in at the plate with them, so you got to back them off the plate. And if you wind up hitting Acuna a couple of times, oh well. And guess what? If they want to fight, then maybe that helps the team. I don't know. Maybe that gets them going in the right direction or something. But like,
I'll tell you, I would do it.
Gotta try
we talk about Luzardo's struggles when guys are on base. He gets a guy on base, I'd have him throw at somebody.
Yeah.
Look, I guess what I think Luzardo's got balls. I think he would do it. I don't think Painter would do it.
He-
Wheeler would
He's
do
the
it.
guy. He's the guy that would Wheeler, but Wheeler you can't count
No,
on
I
him
wouldn't
with
make him do it.
everything. Nolan, no.
No,
Sanchez, I
Nolan
wouldn't
wouldn't
want to
do
do that. So Luzardo's your guy.
I think so.
I mean, I would say
think he would do it.
I would say Walker, but Walker is no longer
Walker
around. I don't
would've
think that's
probably
going to send
Yeah.
a message to the team. But
Yeah, I think Walker getting cut was a message because they could have still. I mean, he stings, but he ain't no worse than half of the bullpen guys they got right now. Like Walker was.
no, they made him sit in the
Sending a
bullpen for the last
like-
2 years until they needed him.
But I'm saying, so they were like sending a message, like to Jason's
Clearly.
point, you do that, they still lose. Like, I guess Kevin Long can go, but does that? I can't remember when a pitching hitting coach has got fired that the team automatically like they did it with Milt Thompson.
Thompson got
Like the
fired.
Phillies had, yeah, and then Charlie Manuel took over. But like you don't really see that much of a change if
It didn't
and
help that
Matt,
year
I
they
mean,
did that.
we saw it in 22. Like you just don't have many bullets to use, so
No.
they have to do it. And that's what I was gonna say. Jason, you said Memorial Day they got to be 500. Chalky, you've referenced now I'm gonna ask: do you guys think that's in the cards? Are we seeing the baseball team for what this team's gonna be? It happened to the Braves last year, right? You just had that lost season. You get injuries, everybody stinks, and the season's kind of derailed. Are we seeing that, or can we see a turnaround? And do you think we'll see a
I
turnaround?
can't believe that this group of talented players that won 96 games last year could be this bad and just be like, this is how they're going to be. Like, I just can't, I don't see it. I just think here's the other problem that I'll say. You signed and brought in all guys that are notorious slow starters. Look at Turner's stats. Schwarber don't get hot till June. We know that, right? It's known for Schwarber. Turner's stats, he's always bad in April, always bad. So you got a bunch of guys now who are bad at the same time. And then this is what happens. So to what you're asking, Tom, no, I don't think they're this bad. And I think they're going to turn it around. And I can see them. I don't think they'll win the division now. I think Atlanta's good and they're going to get healthier and they're already 9 games ahead, but I think they could get in the playoffs. I think they can be a wild card.
Yeah, I mean that third wild card really helps.
Yeah, they can get in.
obviously, to keep them relevant. If they come back to just playing mediocre baseball, right? How
You
about you,
need
Chalky?
Wheeler. You need Wheeler to be. He doesn't have to be Wheeler because he's probably not going to be Wheeler, but he's got to be better than the rest of these guys.
And it might just take like a win or two to get them
Yeah.
back to feeling themselves because they're definitely in a funk right now where they're pressing. Like all those things you hear, all those baseball cliches, they're pressing, the ball looks like all that's like it's definitely happening right now. And to your point, these are guys that start slow and can hit. I mean, the concern really is like the Bohms, the Stotts, Garcia's probably what he is, right? He is not going to come back to the 23 or 22 Garcia, whatever year that was. Like, this is what he is. So that's a little bit of a problem. But Chalky, before we wrap up, do you, because I don't know if maybe I'm pulling the Chalky and I'm trying to reverse jinx it because it seems like when we say things on this podcast that teams do the opposite right afterwards. I think this team is just bad. And I think the season is going to be like that Braves and just lost for the whole year. And will they be the worst team in baseball? No. I don't see them really recovering back to what they were in years past. But again, maybe that's
But
just
do
me
you
trying
think
to
it's a
be
blip
smart.
and they're going to be better next year, or you just think this is the start of every one of them?
And I want to say just a blip, but at the same token, it's hard to really say that confidently because they are aging players. And how often are these aging players going to then magically turn it back around? Like the Braves had a blip, but they still have young players.
Yeah.
Acuna. They have all these, they're not these age guys that in the mid 30s. So I don't know.
And
I don't know.
I know you were going to ask Chucky. I just want to throw one more thing. Aren't the age players not playing that bad though? Think about it.
Yeah, it's
Schwarber and
right. It's
Harper
their
are
other-
the age guys, and JT was playing fine. He was fine. So the three guys who we're saying are older,
Yeah,
they're not
that's
playing that
true.
bad. So
Very true.
I don't know.
Chalky.
So, I mean, just looking at the schedule coming up, you got some bad teams still, like at the bottom. You got San Francisco, you got Colorado, you got Boston. These are teams that have 1-2 more wins than the Phillies right now.
Yep.
You got a couple middle-ish teams right around 500 in the Marlins and the Athletics and the Pirates. And then you got some teams with really good records like Cincinnati, Cleveland, San Diego, and LA. So the schedule is pretty evenly distributed. If they can get to 500 by the end of May, I think they'll make a strong case that they can be back in the playoffs, because it's not like you have 20 games against sub 500 teams, although anything can change in a month at this point in the season. I do think, I mean, we're at a point now where this is really what the third part of Phillies history where they've had like an extended playoff run, if you think of that. So you had the late 70s, the early 80s, you had the late 2000s, and then this, where they've made the playoffs, 4 years in a row. So the question is what we're seeing now, and even if it is an off year, like you're saying, is this more like 79 when they missed it after 3 years, but then come back and win the World Series? Or is this like 2012 where they're not going back for another decade? I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't have a confidence that if they have a 75 win year that they'll be back winning 95 next year. But I just think at this point there is too much talent that they won't get better enough to be winning these games. I mean, you think of 2012, Halladay was pretty much done very early in the year. Howard tore his Achilles. Utley was knee injuries year after year. So they're not looking at that aside from Wheeler with most of their star players. So I have a little more confidence that this team is not quite at the 2012 level where that was just the end of the era. Because I think they have to get better. But when you're talking about guys in their early 30s where your play starts to decline, your window overall is probably very close to closing. So you don't have a lot of time to not be able to have a crack at it. So, if they don't get it back this year and get into the playoffs where anything can happen, you're looking at 1 or 2 more years maybe without a big roster shakeup to have any hope of doing it. So I'm more along the lines of Jason of I think they can get good enough to still make a run to the playoffs, but I'm not as confident as he is at this point.
Yeah, well, 2 quick things. One, there's 3 idiots right now in Colorado hosting a podcast looking at the schedule and saying, well, at least we got the Phillies coming up, a bad team, so maybe we can get back on track, just like we're doing with them. And 2, weren't the Phillies off to like a 44 and whatever? They were like 20 games over 500, and then they lost that game in London to the Mets last year, and then played like 500 baseball after that. Was that last year, right?
That was 2 years.
2 years ago.
2 years ago in London.
Well, all right. Then last year, didn't they get off to a good start last year and then played pretty mediocre the rest of the way?
They've hit stretches like this. It's just not.
What I'm saying is now we're like.
Year.
But now we're in like a. But I think last year they started.
22.
Wasn't last year a year they started well?
24 and 25, they both started very well. Yeah.
So now you're
I don't
in
think
a little bit of a stretch where
I don't think they had a full month last year where they played below 500, but there was a couple months where they were maybe a game or 2 over.
Still not right.
Well,
2011,
I know this is ages ago, but 2011 they lost like 7 games in a row or 9 games in a row. Now they might have clinched.
Yeah, I think it was 9
at that point.
That was towards the end of the year though, I think, right, where they were.
The Texas Rangers had 2. The Texas Rangers in 23, the year they won the World Series, 22, 23, whatever, 23, I guess. They had 2 9-game losing streaks in that year. 2. And won the World Series.
I'll give you one more thing about Dombrowski. One of the Detroit teams, I'm not sure which one, because he had 2 that went to the World Series. One of them started 8-15, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, and even, was it Detroit or Cleveland last year that went on a crazy run and became one of the... Yeah, so I mean, look, there's a lot of it's April. We know that. Yeah. But it's just watching these games right now.
Well, they got to start winning. or else
They got it right.
they are bad.
They got to eventually win one to get a little confidence
Mhm.
that they're able to turn this around. Just one. They got to win one.
Yeah.
So yesterday would have been a nice comeback to win, and they had the chance and they blew that. But all right. And then real quickly before, and I want to try to keep it under an hour. The Eagles went and drafted wide receiver. You know, the player is the player, and I don't think any of us here are going to really give you in-depth knowledge of this guy. I didn't know who the heck he is. I don't really know. I watch college, but I don't know any of the players. I just wanted to say one thing is I think it's a statement that the Eagles are playing this system with the Mannion system or the McVay, the Shanahan, whatever you want to call it. They're playing this system, whether Eagles fans or Hurts likes it or not. They're giving Hurts weapons still. They're not taking away weapons. And we're telling you, Hurts, if you go and suck this year, you're out. Because guess what? We're not getting rid of the offense coordinator. We're not getting rid of the system. This is what we play now, and it's up to you to be able to learn it. And we're giving you the weapons and the types of players that we want. And if you stink, you're out. That's the only thing I have to say about the Eagles draft. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything to that before we finish.
I totally agree, and I hope they draft the quarterback tonight. I would love to see him draft a quarterback tonight.
I actually would too. Chalky, anything before we finish? And I think they need to get out. I mean, position wise, they need offensive linemen. I think that should be a focus as well.
Yeah.
Now you just start getting offensive linemen.
Yeah, they probably would have gone with one of the offensive linemen they liked if they had dropped far.
Yeah,
enough
they
to
went.
a chance.
They
to
went.
Move up. They did go early. I think with it since the last time I talked about the Eagles, it certainly has trended more and more that AJ Brown is going to be gone after June 1st. I mean, Adam Schefter is pretty much saying he's going to get traded to the Patriots after
Yeah, the
June
deal's.
1st.
I think the deal's done.
So it's got to be done. And say what you want about the other story in New England and the reporters and who's breaking the rumors, but Schefter has said it's going to be a deal. So taking the receiver first in the first round, you're not bringing him in to be the third receiver like this year, basically. And they made 2 other trades for receivers and stuff. So Brown is going to be gone. I don't know. I don't think I watched a single USC game this year, so I did not see this kid play. I've heard the quote-unquote experts compare him to the same 2 or 3 players, every single one of them. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
I'm in St.
Nacua
Brown
and-
was the one I heard too.
And I'm on St. Brown. I heard Mayock say that. I don't know if anybody else
Yeah.
did. So, I
I
mean,
saw
look,
Des Bryant had some
I
interesting
did not see Des
comment.
Bryant.
Look at Des Bryant.
Yeah, I didn't see anything like that. So, I mean, I would say what we've criticized Brown for with not playing every play, like this kid is playing every play. He's a willing blocker. He'll do whatever you want. You can't say he's going to be JSN or Puka because those are 2 of the top 3-4 receivers in the league right now. But where the comparison comes in is the versatility of where he can be used. And it's not just going to be he's played a lot of slot, but he can do slot outside. They can put him in the backfield like they were doing with JSN. So that's to what you were saying, Tom, the Mannion offense. Well, Puka and Cooper played in LA. Cooper went to Seattle and JSN. So that kind of creative usage of a guy where they're going to put a receiver in a fullback slot in the backfield where the Eagles have not done that.
It's timing. They're guys that
Yeah.
they time it, to catch the ball, to have open space, to run with it, get yards after the catch.
Yeah.
So we're
So
going to
this
see
is
what
this
kind of
player,
quarterback Hurts is.
if he's as advertised, is going to fit into that kind of scheme, which means they're setting up their scheme and they're going to make the quarterback play it. And if you can't play it, they're going to find somebody else that can. So,
And when I said,
if Hurts is here past this year, they're going to have to do a new contract anyway. So he's either going to have to show he can play this or they're going to find somebody else.
and when I said Des Bryant, I didn't mean they compared him to Des Bryant. I meant Des Bryant said that he's
He must.
third receiver and number 3 receiver.
I
I don't know.
take Des Bryant's.
I
watched the whole thing on. I mean, Steve Smith loves him. Steve Smith did a half an hour thing on him
He's
as
the
a
third
prospect.
receiver on the Eagle on
Yeah,
any
he's
like
the
a
number
team
3
or the
receiver. He
Eagles?
said he benefited from the other receiver that he was playing with in USC.
I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
don't know
can't
if I could
say
put him down.
I can't
I
say
don't know
he's wrong
anything.
because I
I'm
didn't
just
watch
saying what he
USC.
said.
I mean, nobody's saying he's going to be a top 3 receiver in the league. They're saying he's a low end 1, very good 2, and obviously the team has a lot of faith in Devontae Smith moving forward. But I mean, I think it's more of a scheme fit for the talent of what they want to run, and the quarterback is going to have to be able to do that, who that is in the next couple of years.
Right. All right. Let's keep it under an hour as we got 7 seconds left. This was episode 203 of Broad Street Hustle. Have a great evening.